Okay, hi everybody. We are
We can start sharing the
now
screen.
live. All right, can you see us?
Good.
Oh, yay!
Good.
Great.
Okay, it's working. You can hear us and you can see us.
All right, so just so you know, we are recording this webinar. So we hope to have a recording up after the event, probably later this week, but I don't know quite yet when, but hopefully by the end of the week. So everything will be recorded, even your comments and everything in the chat. So, remember that everybody can read what you write. All right. So welcome to the Syllabus Student Senior Webinar. You're here with Dawn and myself. I'm Bryn Campbell, the registrar.
Maybe turn the sound on.
Oh, Dawn's just going to turn off some sound. And Dawn Ardeal is with me, who is the director of syllabus. So thank you for joining us today. So today's webinar agenda will include looking at RAIC 690A and B, the process and how you get all that accomplished, including how and when to submit your thesis proposal, and the process and steps to take from final submissions to graduation to submitting your CACB for certification of your education. We'll also look at grades and transcripts, review of the administrative leave policy, and we will do a reminder to submit your CERBs or Canadian Experience Record Books to the National Office for review, and the work experience requirements of syllabus students. So we just wanted to do a quick overview of the RAIC 690A and B process, including proposals. There's been a lot of questions about just how that comes about, so we're just going to touch on that here. So basically what you can see is you need to start thinking about your proposal and paper and everything before you actually enroll in 690A. We need you to be looking at writing your proposal and submitting whether or not you're going to be doing an annotated visual argument or an illustrated textual thesis paper before you're ever enrolling to do the paper and project and everything. And we will go over the annotated visual argument and illustrated textual thesis in the coming slides.
I think it's important, even at this very early stage in the presentation, to note that not all students would qualify to do the illustrated textual paper or the intensive research paper. Only some students would qualify to do that at this time.
Great. And we'll go over that in the next slides as well, too. So what we want you to look at here is that the whole process itself takes about 2 years to complete. From the start of writing the proposal to actually submitting the 690B final. So it is a bit of a process, and we just wanted to quickly outline that here. Basically, what you want to be doing is doing your proposal, and it's going to be submitted to not only a review committee, but also the registrar, myself, and the director for approval from the national office to go ahead and do that proposal and move into 690A. So you're going to submit all of that. You're going to have a review committee in place, which may constitute being part of your thesis advisors. It may be your instructors or coordinators and people that you're working with. It could be outside design professionals, anybody who's advising you on this, and they're going to help you in preparing what you're going to do your research on and your paper and everything. And once this is submitted and approved by your review committee as well as the national office, you then go and enroll in 690A, and in this case, you're doing a paper, and you submit and do presentations for midterm and final, and that is similar to another studio where it's a pass-fail before you move on to 690B. 1 second, just adding more people. Perfect.
Yeah, I can do that now. Okay.
And so then once you get through 690A, which is generally a term, once you've gotten your proposal accepted and you're moving into that, you should be taking about one term to do your 690A. And when you've passed that part, then you'll move on to 690B, and that one can take a couple of terms to complete. This is where you're doing your final design project, or in the case of some students, you might be doing a very detailed research paper as well. And as Dawn said, that's not something that everybody would be able to do, but there is that option for some students. So another thing to note when doing all of this is that we do require things like a cover page with signatures on your proposal when you submit, signing off that people are going to be with you through your thesis and going to advise you. So those are your advisors that are going to sign that. And digital copies go to the registrar. And then as the final piece, you're going to be having 2 copies to submit to the registrar if they're original bound copies, and everything is submitted digitally online through Moodle.
Okay.
Nothing to add? No?
No, nothing at this stage.
Oh, sorry, no, it's clicking. There we go.
Okay.
So again, just reiterating here, the proposal is about 1,000 to 1,500 words. The idea behind the proposal is that it frames the project and the intentions of your research. As I said before, it's approved by your review committee or advisors, as well as the director or the national office. And it outlines what the student intends to do for their research project and includes proposed methodologies, a discussion explaining the selection of the review panel and why they're going to be the best people to advise you, as well as a thesis statement and just making sure that everything is signed.
Well, while we're on this slide, just to mention the syllabus director does an approval of the proposal, and I'd like to indicate what is it that the national office and myself as the director is looking for in the proposal, and why some proposals are perhaps turned back for further work and some are not. What we're looking for here in the national office is first and foremost that your proposal clearly indicates that you will achieve, by doing this work, the learning outcomes of 690A and 690B. That's first and foremost. If we see that the proposal doesn't appear to us that it will achieve the learning outcomes of the course that are stated in the course outline, then we will send it back. Also, we want to ensure that the proposal is rich in content and that the student will be challenged, that the student will learn, that it will really add to not only the student's knowledge, but the knowledge of those people who are going to review the project and read the project and view the models afterwards. So we're looking for a comprehensive proposal, and first and foremost, that your proposal is going to be, that the project will address all of the learning outcomes of 690A and 690B. Okay, well, now let's look at 690A, the research paper. The research paper is an academic work. Okay, it should include a cover page with the appropriate signatures, a title page with your name, your ID, etc. There should be a table of contents. Not only a table of contents for the text, but there should be a table of figures, a table of tables, and we should be able to look at that table of contents and see the entire work. What this then indicates is that the document should be organized with an appropriate headings at different levels so that we can work through the paper and it's correctly referenced. There should be a thesis statement. Now, this is controversial. The thesis statement can at times be very difficult to grasp. Those students who have already completed 420, the architectural theory course, will have experienced the the challenges in developing a thesis statement, and it should be easier. However, there needs to be a problem and a thesis statement clearly articulated in the research paper. Then we have the introduction, your approach to the thesis, precedents to be explored, etc. There should be a project statement with case studies, the methodology of how you're going to be developing the project, the resources you've used, and a literature review in an appropriate format. In the case of an illustrated textual thesis, the student must present an exhaustive literature review. This is one of the big differences between the annotated graphical thesis, which in other terms is a detailed building design, and an illustrated textual thesis, which is a major research paper. So for 690A, if you're doing the illustrated textual thesis, the literature review should be exhaustive. Now, what do we mean when we say exhaustive? Well, one of the rules of thumb is that you are not just finding references that are appropriate to your topic. You are finding all of the references. And one of the ways to determine that is to, when you look at articles that you're referencing, when you start seeing the circles coming back and the same authors referencing each other, then you know that you have really exhausted your literature review. There should be a bibliography, and finally, the advisor's documentation, the supporting documentation, letters of agreement to serve the review panel. Okay. Now we have the requirements for 690B, the annotated visual argument. This is the detailed building design. It is between 5,000 to 10,000 words. It involves a design project. It may develop as a set of design concepts to answer a hypothesis presented by the student in their thesis. Then we have the major research paper, and this is the illustrated textual thesis, okay? So the written component is far more extensive. As you can see, it's 15,000 to 20,000 words. It may or may not involve a design component. As an example, a student who is doing the major research project may want to look at a new type of construction technology, or look at like tall timber buildings and really explore tall timber buildings in contemporary design. Okay, it may include a research, building science, technology, building materials, really exploring any aspect, of contemporary architectural practice. Now, as I'd indicated earlier, not everyone qualifies to pursue the illustrated textual thesis. Okay, and the reason is that the CACB performance standards require that the students satisfy the completion of a detailed building design project. And this is not just conceptual design. This is detailed building design, including all systems. So we're looking at structural, mechanical, architectural, etc. In order for all syllabus graduates to be able to achieve those learning outcomes of the courses, students who want to do the illustrated textual thesis must complete the learning outcomes of the detailed building design at 655 or D7. D7 is the last detailed building design project before 690 or D9. So if a student wants to do the illustrated textual thesis, they will have to decide during D7 that they are going to make their D7 building design project satisfy the detailed building design requirements that are needed for CACB. So the student must demonstrate a consistent level of academic performance, a B+ or higher, throughout all of their syllabus design studios, and ARCH 420, the architectural theory. And written approval must also be received from the director. So you really have to, if you're going to be doing the illustrated textual thesis, you need to be thinking of this well in advance. Okay, from graduation to certification.
One second, I'm just going to put you on speaker. All right, sorry. We had some people, for some reason, it's not working. So hopefully
really?
Diana can
they're not
join us
getting
that way.
sound?
Yeah, they weren't getting sound. I don't know
okay.
why. Sorry.
Okay, we just had to make a couple of changes. Some people are not getting the audio, so we have. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, isn't the 5,000 on paper part of 690A?
More or less, isn't the 5,000 on the paper part of 690A? Yes, the initial proposal of 690A is a 5,000 to 10,000 word paper in 690A. Sorry, let's go back. I think maybe we're getting.
Yeah, you might need to go back to the paper there.
Okay. The requirements for 690B, if I understand correctly, the annotated visual argument includes a detailed building design and a 5,000 to 10,000 word document describing the detailed building design. Okay. This is in addition to, if we step back, the research paper. Okay. This is not a substitute for it. So the research paper is incorporated into the detailed 690B work.
Bobby has a question too, I think. Bobby, sorry, if you don't have a mic, do you want to just put your question into the chat box? Oh, sorry, it's gone scrolled up. 1 second then.
We'll just see if we can expand the chat. Okay, let's.
It's okay. Here, 1 second.
Okay, you did. Yeah, Morgan, coming back to your question, yes, the 5,000 to 10,000 words of 690B, the paper of 690A is incorporated into that.
Bobby, what's the benefit of the textual route?
The benefit, there's not that it's a benefit, it's that if your particular desire or your interests lie along a different path, then you may decide to pursue the textual route, as some students have. They have had a real passion about a particular aspect of architectural practice or architectural theory, and they've wanted to pursue that. So it's not that one is better than the other or there are benefits better than the other. It really depends on what you want to do with your career and with your education.
Does that answer your question? Great. Thanks, Bobby. Okay, so sorry, you got through this stuff then, yeah. So we'll just keep going. Great, so steps to graduation. So basically this slide, we just wanted to quickly go over, once you're starting to get close to graduation, which most of the senior students are as they're starting to get to that part 3 and getting into their thesis topics and everything, we just want you to have a quick check-in with myself as the registrar. We want to make sure that all your CERB submissions have been uploaded through the student portal. that everything's up to date there. You can connect with me and make sure that everything is lined up correctly, that all of your SERBs have been submitted and been reviewed, and we can look to decide if you've fulfilled all the requirements for the CERBs as well. We want you to ensure that if you need to, you've submitted all of your Athabasca University official transcripts to myself so that I can update your RAIC transcripts. And we want to make sure that all your academic requirements have been fulfilled other than the thesis or any last outstanding courses that you need to take and that you're aware of. And then we'll review the final steps to take so that you're ready to go for graduation when you complete your thesis or your last course. And then you'll be issued the RAIC Diploma in Architecture when everything is done. And there's a link in this presentation which we'll give to you as well, so that you can see the rules and everything required to get the RAIC Diploma in Architecture. So once you've gotten there, and congratulations, you have graduated, we will be inviting you to the convocation ceremonies at the annual Festival of Architecture. Again, as we get closer to that time, we can discuss and see how you're able to attend and receive your diploma across the stage. Dawn, I think you hand out the diplomas and everything. No? Who hands out the diplomas?
The chairman of the Syllabus National Advisory Committee.
Oh, that's right.
Gord Richards has done that.
Gord Richards does that. That's right. But I know you're always there. Wish them all well.
Yes, I'm there to wish them well.
And so as you've graduated, upon that graduation from the syllabus program, you're going to need to get your education certified individually by the Canadian Architectural Certification Board. And we've, again, provided a link for you here. And you will go and take that stuff to CACB. One of the issues sometimes that comes up is assuming that we send all of your stuff to CACB, but in fact, there's an application process through CACB's website or by hand. I think they do it by paper as well, that you go and individually certify your education with them. And we can help you with the requirements that they ask for as well.
Okay, the CACB requirements. And first I'll preface this. The RAIC Syllabus Office does not forward any of this material to the CACB. It's your responsibility to collect all of your academic and work experience materials and send those to the CACB. We do not do that for you, okay? So for graduates of the syllabus program, each syllabus graduate is individually certified by the CACB, okay? So you need official transcripts of the record of completed courses or a certified true copy thereof. We provide that. We provide a transcript which is sealed by this office, as well as your diploma, which is sealed by the office. You need a certified, a certified true copy of the official translation of transcripts if the original documents are not in English or French. A certified true copy of all degrees received upon fulfillment of all RAIC syllabus requirements. A certified true copy of the official transcript of degrees if the original documents are not in English or French. Official university calendar describing the professional program in architecture or equivalent, that's us, and the university calendar must correspond to the years of your study. Now, what you need to do is you need to be keeping the course outlines of the courses that you take. That is important. So if you've taken a course, you keep the course outline. Don't throw it out thinking, oh, I'll never need this again. You need to keep those course outlines. And a certified true copy of official translation of university calendar, again, if the original document is not in English or French. Okay.
How do we access syllabus course calendars for our application that we don't have them? So I've provided a link here for the syllabus course calendar, and I can give you a link as well. There is a syllabus course calendar that's on our website. So if you go on there, you check and see if that's the courses and things that you took, okay? And start with that.
Okay. You need to list the academic design projects that you've completed throughout the program in architecture. So you need to have the information about all of the design studios that you've taken, as well as a brief description of each project in a maximum of 4 pages. portfolio of your academic design. It's not mandatory, but it's recommended to submit it in order to expedite the assessment. You need to pay an assessment fee, okay? And then submission of the portfolio of academic design work requirements. So the portfolio for schoolwork should be made of copies of individual work produced within the design studio of the architectural program. It must include at least the final design project and or 2 other projects produced in the last 2 years of the program. The requirements and the format are as follows, and you can see the dimensions. It needs to be in 8.5 by 11 to 11:17, folded, etc. This information is all available on the CACB's website.
Sorry, there's a few people asking questions here about pre-Athabasca courses, their history, theory, and technical courses. So I'm just saying, if you did take courses pre-Athabasca and you're looking for the history, theory, and technical course outlines, hopefully you have them, but if not, contact me directly and I will review what we have on file. And just let me know when the years that you took them, basically. We can go over your transcript.
Okay.
All right, so grades and transcripts. If we get advanced standing for courses, how are those outlines treated?
Well, if you have advanced standing, then you would have a transcript from the institution where you took the original course, and you should have the course outlines from those institutions. We would not have those course outlines, so you need to have the course outlines from a previous institution, be it a community college or university. So you'd have to go back to the institution and get those course outlines.
So whatever you submitted to us in order to get advanced standing, basically. Thank you. All right, cool. Thanks, Donald. So basically, transcript grades. So we just wanted to kind of identify this. As you all know, things have gotten uploaded to the new online server, and your transcripts and things and all your courses are available online through your student portal account, which we're very excited about. But just so you know, there has been a couple of changes in how things are just displayed, basically. So grades for studio courses that were deemed a pass in the past, and only if you've kind of been around in studio for a while would you not have had a grade, probably. But if you were a migrated student who had a pass in a studio, and the grade for that was lower than what is currently accepted as a passing grade, we are just bumping those students up until the lowest possible passing grade. So you still pass the course, even though the requirements for the course have changed slightly. So if there's some issue with your online status, something like that, in your transcript, just let me know. We'll review it and walk through it and just make sure that everything's correct. Thesis students, where it says pass in your course, will be changed to a B+, because it does need to be a letter grade on the transcripts now for the online purposes. So a pass will be considered a B+ on thesis courses and for 690A and B. And if you received a pass with a distinction, it'll be changed to an A. So I just wanted to quickly go over document requests, things like that. So just showing you here, when you get to your online student portal, you might see something that looks like this. And on the left-hand side, you can see things like documents, document requests, grades. If you click on document request, this is where you can go in and request for a letter of enrollment. Sometimes students need that in order to get access to things or be considered a student in certain status areas. And here you can also request an official transcript or an unofficial transcript. If you are requesting a transcript, please just add in the request detail an official transcript, the address of which you want it sent to or mailed to. And if it's an unofficial, you just wanted to get a copy of your transcript, feel free to just send me details that you want an unofficial transcript. Okay. That'll go directly to me to review. If you want to access documents, so once you've requested these things and I've approved it and upload it, You'll either find it under Documents or Official Documents under the Documents tab. And so that will be where you can download your files if it's a digital file. All right. So we just wanted to go over and remind you about the administrative leave policy that we have in place now. Just to remind you, it is up on our website. You can review the administrative leave policy or leave of absence policy. To request a leave of absence from your syllabus studies, please submit the request through the online student portal. There is a tab for leave of absence, and I think if I just go back just to give you a quick show of that, and you can see it just there under grades. So just go to that part in your student portal and submit a leave of absence. And when you're submitting a leave of absence, you're going to be asked for a leave of absence request letter as well. So you're going to have to just submit a formal request, just outlines why you're taking the leave of absence, how long you're taking the leave of absence for, so planned return date, things like that. Leaves may be taken for up to 3 years from the date of completion of the last course taken. So if you've taken a course a year ago, you can only take a leave of absence from the date of the last course taken. So you would have another 2 years that you could do a maximum of. Ah, yes, there you go. So now you can see the leave of absence button there. And you just request the leave, put the from date, so when the start date is from the last course taken, the to date is how long you're planning on taking a leave of absence, and upload a formal leave of absence request letter. You can, sometimes it's necessary, but you need to upload documentation. Things like if you were taking a leave of absence for health or medical reasons, you would put a doctor's letter or something like that in there, just so that we have evidence of why you're taking the leave of absence.
Just coming back to the leave of absence, the leave of absence can extend beyond 3 years. However, there are other criteria that then come into play. For example, within the 3-year period, with the leave of absence, you can come back into the program where you left off. Once you have a leave of longer than 3 years, you're then required to undergo a review of the academic completion at the time you left the program, because we need to determine whether or not there have been changes in the curriculum since you left, and you may be required to go back and redo courses that you had taken previously because the course content has been changed. So within the 3-year period, you can return to the program where you left off. After 3 years, between 4 years and 10 years, you may have to redo courses. After 10 years, you need to reapply to the program. You need to come back in as though you're a new student, and an assessment will have to be done as to what of your prior academic work would still qualify in the program. It is possible that none of your previous educational experience would qualify, and you'd have to start from the beginning again. That's a possibility. Okay, now we're looking at the experience books and the work experience. First of all, I cannot reinforce enough, please send your experience books in on time. This has been a challenge, and it often, when you're working in an office, it becomes a lower priority to get the experience books in and signed, and I know it's a hassle, but it's important, okay? So, first of all, some of the students are working on the older experience protocols, and those students who were halfway through Part 2 of the syllabus program before the end of 2013 are required to satisfy 5,340 hours of categorized experience. Okay. Now, the students who had not completed at least half of Part 2 by the end of 2013 are required to participate in the new experience books, and that is 9,800 hours. Okay? All of the experience books are now submitted through the student portal. Okay? Once you've submitted, the registrar and the director are notified of the submission. We automatically get an email. You're reminded to submit your experience books within 8 weeks of the last date of entry. Okay? The experience books should be no more than 1,000 hours of experience. In other words, about 6 months of experience. So you should be submitting your experience books before the end of the 8th month. Okay? 8 weeks after the last entry. Signed by both the supervising architect and by the mentor. And we want you to note that the grace period for submitting late experience books is over. We have allowed almost a year for people to submit late books, but the grace period has come to an end, and late fees will be charged if the experience books are submitted after the 8 weeks after the last date. Now, the fee that we charge is the same as what is charged in many of the provinces. Okay? It is important that you read the experience book that is posted on the RAIC website and really read it carefully. Okay?
Sorry, Andrea is just asking what the timeline is for review of the books.
We try to review the books when they come in. Given our workload, that is not always possible. At times, it could be as quick as the next day. At other times, it could be as distant as 4 to, I'd say at the outside, 8 weeks. But that is the exception, and we try to do it much more quickly. What you will get if you are in the grandfathered category, in other words, you had completed half of the program before 2013, then you will receive the log in an Excel format. If you are one of the 9,800 hour students, then you can view your log in the student portal. What I do try and do is provide personal notes. When I look at your experience, if I see that your experience is really in only one category of building, I will urge you to get a more diversified experience. It is important as well to understand that you have to follow the experience rules of the province in which you're going to get registered. This is not just about following the syllabus program, but in order for all of this experience to be counted by the provincial regulator, you need to follow their rules. So you need to go to the provincial regulator's website, you need to download the intern architect's program booklet from the provincial regulator's website and read Schedule B. Schedule B of each different regulator includes their unique provincial requirements, and it's really important you're familiar with those. We have had some students who have wanted to submit experience in a certain way, and they expect that, well, because I've submitted it to the syllabus program, my provincial regulator should accept it. That is not the case. The syllabus program must follow, not lead, the experience rules of the provincial regulators.
We had one other quick question just about the CERB logs online. If it's adding incorrectly or you're having any technical issues with the website or the CERB logs or anything, just send me a quick email. I'll review, see if we can get it fixed. Worst case, I will send you a manual review of your CERB just to have a quick turnaround, but just let me know. Just send me an email or give me a call.
Okay.
So I just wanted to quickly show you here on the online student portal where you can go and submit your CERB logs because we're doing it online now. So again, on the menu on the left-hand side, there's just a CERB upload button. Click on that. You can go and add your CERB books in PDF format and then just include your start and end date so we get that window of when you're doing those hours, and so that we can determine that you're submitting on time. So again, the CERB log, you can just find that under Documents on your student portal as well. If you click on the left-hand menu under Documents and then go over and go to CERB log, you should be able to see your hours added up here by dates that you submitted for each of those sections. If you're having any technical issues, though, just let me know.
Again, this would only apply for students who are on the 9,800-hour program. Students on the 5,340-hour program, you will receive your log as an Excel spreadsheet as you have in the past.
Yeah, and if you need a copy of it for any reason, just send me an email and I'll be happy to send that over to you right away. All right, so that concludes our presentation, I suppose. So if you have any questions, please let us know. We're watching the chat box here. Oh, Mallory Blaine, has this been revised to remove the volunteer hours? Oh yes, that was still in the CERB log hours.
It's in the CERB log hours. We have to include a CERB log that would work for any of the provincial regulators. So we have not taken that out because it could be that your provincial regulator wants to see that. If that's a requirement in the IAP Schedule B, in the province in which you're located, you need to satisfy that requirement for them.
Yeah. So if it's not required by your provincial regulator for us, don't worry about it, basically.
What is required for us is that you satisfy the minimum hours in all of the 15 categories of practice, parts A, B, and C, and that you have satisfied the total minimum number of hours. That works for the syllabus program. But again, it doesn't necessarily work for your provincial regulator. You need to consult with a provincial regulator.
I see a couple other people are asking some questions here, typing through. So we'll give you guys a chance to just put in your questions. Also note, though, that you are welcome to call me at any time if you do have questions. I'm happy to sit with you and review your status and to go over everything with you. As a returning senior student, what do you who has not taken a course in a long time, what do you submit for advanced standing? So this Fernando, he was out of the program for 10 years. So
I see.
What's the review process for advanced standing?
Okay, what we would need is all of the transcripts from your previous syllabus experience, all of the transcripts from any educational institutions. We would have to review those transcripts to determine what courses may still apply and what courses you would need to take and retake.
And you would be able to still submit from other previous institutions the transcripts for advanced standing from any other ones. All right.
Diana is
Fernando
typing. Fernando is typing.
We're going to give you guys a second. That's good. Yeah, so I mean, basically, again, biggest thing is to make sure that your CERB logs are submitted on time so you're not incurring any late fees, that you're signing up for your courses, and that you are submitting your proposals and everything, your proposals and stuff on time so that we can make sure that you're ready to go and have all the approvals.
Okay, so we're now at Curtis, and you said, what is the maximum amount of hours that can be backlogged for the CERB? You can backlog a total of half of the hours, or 4,900 hours, for the CERB. Those backlogged hours need to be submitted in experience books. You don't need to have them signed by a mentor, but you do need to have them signed by the supervising architect. So your work experience needs to be documented just the same as regular hours, okay? We enter those backlogged hours up to 4,900. Okay, Diana has put in a question.
Still have courses showing I need to register but was grandfathered in. Diana, please just send me a quick email. I'll go over your transcript and make sure everything's up to date. Not a problem.
Max.
Max.
Does the CACB require any minimum grades? I'm afraid we can't answer that question. You would need to contact the CACB directly. We are not a part of that review process. Although we would love it, we do not receive any feedback from the CACB on anybody's individual certification process. So we don't know the results of anybody's certification process. That's a confidential issue, okay? So I'm not aware that there are minimum grades, but you would have to contact the CACB.
Andrea, the backlogged hours I've submitted exceed 1,000 hours per workbook. Will this be an issue for the backlogged hours?
Well, for the backlogged hours, no. It's not great, but no, they don't exceed 1,000 hours, but the maximum, again, is 4,900 hours of the 9,800 total.
Yeah.
Paul?
Okay. Paul, graduates that got denied, are there any graduates that got denied certification?
Unfortunately, I don't know. And the reason is because we are not entitled to find out the results of any certification. We do not have records of denied certification. So I'm afraid I can't answer that question either way.
Fernando, maybe last transcript. Fernando, send me an email directly and we'll review your work, okay?
Okay, Fernando, if you have been out of the program for 10 years, I believe that you do need to anticipate starting at a different place, okay? Since in the last 10 years, there have been multiple changes. Many of the courses have been updated. They've been moved online. So there could be some significant differences. Okay.
Mallory Blaine. Some provincial regulators are accepting but not reviewing CERB hours until we're registered as interns, which is after we are complete the program. In this instance, I'm assuming hours aren't considered backlogged as they're receiving them every 6 months but just not reviewing them. Do you know if this is accurate or if I should speak with my regulator?
That is difficult to say. Yes, I know that some of the regulators receive the hours but do not review them. And I'm afraid I cannot tell you which regulators do and which regulators don't. Unfortunately, each regulator treats syllabus students differently. And I know that people have said, well, why can't we get this coordinated across the country? And I'm afraid that is not within the control of the RAIC or the syllabus program. Each regulator treats syllabus students and their interns quite differently. So you need to contact the regulator to find out how they treat syllabus student experience books.
They've asked for OAA specifically, if you can. But
I can't speak specifically to the OAA other than I do believe that they do receive the experience books, but they don't look at them. Now, the issue there is that the OAA is moving to a completely automated experience book process, and I don't know how that is going to impact syllabus students.
sorry, just letting Diana know. We're going to make this available afterwards too. We'll give you a copy of the slideshow after so you can get the links, and the presentation will be recorded and available later. And Fernando, great. I will talk to you soon.
Okay.
Are there any other questions at this time? If not, we will look to wrapping up. For the Thesis 690A, when is the paper?
I'm sorry, Morgan, could you
Oh, when's it due?
When's it due?
Oh, so the paper, basically, sorry. The paper is due at the end of the 690A term, so you'll be doing the paper during 690A. You'll be doing a midterm still and a final. The paper's due at the end after your final in order to do the pass-fail and everything.
Okay. One of the challenges in the 690 course is that students often want to set a hard deadline for when they believe they will be completed. and there can be differences in expectations between your studio leaders and the students with regard to when they're actually finished. It is not uncommon in design studio, because the pass grade for 690 is very high, it's a B+, is the minimum pass grade. There really is no way of, shall I say, sliding through 690 with a minimum pass. And it's quite possible that in some studios, the studio instructors will instruct you to keep at it and keep at it, and may instruct you, you'll have to register for another term to keep at it, because they're not prepared to allow you to make your final submission. This is possibly a unique aspect of syllabus, unlike university education, because it does have the escalating pass grade. Now, from Mallory, is there any requirement for whom we choose to be our review committee, or is there a certain number of people? Maybe this is noted in the course outline.
It is noted in the course outline. I don't think we have a number in the course outline, but we do have a list of who can be in the review committee. Yeah. It can include your coordinator, instructors, outside people such as clients, experts, engineers, anybody really that you feel would be useful to advising you on your thesis.
Retired architects,
subject matter experts, things like that might be important. It really depends on what you're doing. If you're doing something in heritage, for example, maybe you want somebody who's trained in heritage conservation. If you're doing something particularly sustainability related, maybe you want somebody with lead expertise or sustainability expertise who can advise you on that.
I think generally speaking, the number is 3. I think generally speaking, you want a minimum of 3 advisors so that you get a range of ideas.
But you don't want to have too many, because you don't want to have so many differing opinions.
So I guess we are suggesting 3. Bobby is typing.
But again, in your proposal as well in the paper, you need to make a case for why you have people as your advisors on your committee. So if you have a good reasoning for more than 3 or something like that, you just need to put it in the proposal and let us know. Mm-hmm. Couple more questions coming in. Fernando. We'll give it a couple more minutes just so that we can answer your questions. But if you do end up having more questions outside of this, do remember you can contact me anytime via email or phone. Bobby,
is it not true that you may also change the advisors if the feedback is not helpful? Mm. We don't have a policy on that. I guess it depends on what you mean when you say not helpful. If, for example, the advisor doesn't show up at reviews or doesn't say anything or doesn't look at your work in advance, yes, I can understand why a student would want to change advisors. We don't have a policy on it, however.
Yeah. Feel free to email me to ask too, Bobby, if you have an issue with anybody or something like that. Maybe we can review what advice and things like that, and who else you're thinking of adding in or doing that.
I think it would be important to note that students may not be receptive to what their advisors are telling them, and that may not be the best reason to want to replace them. But I think that if an advisor simply cannot commit the time or make the commitment to help you in your studies, that would seem to me to be a rationale for looking for another advisor. Mm-hmm.
I think from the get-go too, selecting advisors is just good to, as you're preparing your proposal, things like that, have a good think about who's an expert in that field or who's actually kind of aligned with the kind of thinking, kind of design projects you want to do, and have a good discussion with them about it before you actually propose them as an advisor too.
Also, a good question to ask is, are they prepared to come to your reviews, all of your reviews? Are they prepared to come at the midterm and the final? Are they prepared to make that kind of a time commitment? You want an advisor who enjoys teaching, who enjoys mentoring young people coming up. You want somebody who finds that a pleasurable and rewarding experience and not a burden.
Take one more question from Jennifer, who's typing up here. Is there a limit on proximity to the selected preferred advisor? Good question. Can they be across the country, or does it matter if you can meet with them face to face?
As long as they can satisfy all of the requirements of being an advisor. Now, the difficulty would be if they're not in the area, how do they attend midterms and finals? That's going to be a challenge. We do not have a structured distance education system using technology in the design studios, and I don't well receive the idea of ad hoc telecommunications in studios. So I think that would be the challenge as to how do these people attend the finals.
I think one thing could be to note is if you have advisors who are local to you, if you want to discuss your topic with somebody outside who's not necessarily an official advisor, but you just want to chat with them and get advice or anything like that, I think it's great to, get lots of thoughts and advice on your work. All right, so we're going to close the session now. Thank you so much for attending. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate you being a part of this. Again, if you have any questions or anything that you want to discuss with myself or with Dawn, feel free to send us an email or give me a call. And I'm happy to go over everything with you or to get you set with everything so that you feel comfortable and you're getting ready to graduate.
And we want to see lots and lots of graduates in the next couple of years.
Yes, we're very excited to see you all graduate.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer, Mallory, Morgan, Jessica, Dawn, Bobby, Fernando.
Thank you very much. We appreciate
Thank you
being
very
a part
much,
of it.
everybody. Good night.